Good afternoon. How are you on today? I'm Dr. Preston Ray Winfrey, and I'm delighted another Saturday to welcome you into my studio. And I pray and trust that you've had a great day. I hope that your week was a great week. I've had a wonderful time, a great week, a busy week. But what's life without busyness? I guess as long as you do all things in moderation. So often people will remark to me, they say, I thought you were retired. And I'm not quite sure how they're interpreting my retirement. But my retirement was from pastoring, having that overall responsibility for a flock that I've had for 44 years. Well, I have retired from that aspect of ministry, but I have not retired from ministry. I'm still busy. Sometimes it appears at times I'm busier than I was, but deep in my own heart, in my mind, I know that I've been freed up from a lot. So I'm so thankful to be alive, clothed in my right mind with a reasonable portion of health, strength, and energy. And for that, I'm telling you, you can't beat it. I'm loving every aspect of it. And I just want to remind anybody who will listen, that the God I serve is still on his throne, and he's able to do exceedingly abundantly above anything that I can ask or even imagine. And that's according to the power that he has given me. Well, let's go to work today. I want to talk about choose who gets a seat at your table. Choose. You choose. You don't want me to make that choice because I may choose the wrong person. And don't allow others to choose who gets to sit at your table for any number of reasons. That table is your table. And I don't think anything worse can be for you to sit at a table where you're expecting peace and want to enjoy a nice meal or a snack, and someone is sitting at your table who can't stand your guts or who's bringing you a world of drama. So today I want to talk, briefly about choosing who gets to sit at your table. In life, it's necessary for us to make good choices and decisions. Making those good decisions has all to do with knowing what your options are and selecting for yourself the very best options. Now, sometimes in our selecting, we may not make the best choice. So making good decisions with respect to who gets to sit at your table is of a personal nature, right? When the right people are sitting at your table, you do well. But if you have the wrong people sitting at your table, it can be devastating, and most times to your disadvantage. So since it is your table, you have to look at that like answering the phone, answering the doorbell when the button is pushed. Just because someone is pushing the button doesn't mean they have to gain entry into your space, because that's your home, that's your private space, right? Just because the telephone is ringing does not mean you have to pick it up. We can all thank God for caller ID and the like. So it makes sense for you to choose when it comes to who's going to sit at your table. It makes sense to determine who gets to sit at your table. And too often in life, we're naive in our thinking. with respect to things, places, and people. Now, take for instance, how often have you heard a person say, "Oh, I have lots of friends, tons of friends"? Well, sometimes that sounds good. It sounds good when you don't know any better. But the reality is, no one has a lot of friends. Typically, when you're young, you can, you make those statements because you have not lived long enough. You don't have solid information. And what I find unfortunate about this is some people seemingly never ever grow from that mind thought that I've just got lots of friends, and they're constantly being deceived, they're being set up, and they can't figure out, why are these things happening? Many times there are a number of reasons why people think this way. Sometimes because they're trying to prove to others that no one can tell them what to do. So don't tell me who should sit at my table. It's my table and I can do my thing and I can do what I want to do, right? Some of you old timers remember that song, "It's Your Thing. Do what you want to do. I can't tell you who to sock it to." Sometimes they will allow people into their inner circles who have hidden agendas. And the problem with that is if they have a hidden agenda, they're not there at your table because of your agenda. As a matter of fact, if they see your agenda at all, they don't care anything about your agenda. And it's almost like sometimes a snake in the grass. You don't see the snake, but the snake is right there waiting for you to get in a very close proximity, and then before you know anything, the snake strikes. Sometimes out of our own ignorance of what's real, we live on the premise of what should be. People shouldn't have private agendas. People should just treat everyone right, decent. Sounds so good, doesn't it? And wouldn't the world be a better place? It would be a better world if that were true. But the reality is everyone has an agenda. Everyone has something that they are after. And wisdom on your part should be, let me filter, let me screen who gets to sit at my table. In 1 Corinthians 15th chapter and verse 33, it says this in the Living Bible: "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." In the King James Version, it says, "Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners." Now, the lesson we learn is this: don't be deceived, or don't be led astray. Don't be made to wander, to roam aimlessly, to be led away from the truth and into error and sin. Don't be misled or seduced. Evil or bad, worthless, wicked, vicious, malicious, cowardly, destructive. Company or companionship in communion, conversation, in speech, in talk, it corrupts, or it can destroy good moral, useful habits in the life of a person. So when we talk in terms of someone coming to your table, you just don't want to have an open door policy where just whosoever will, let them come. No, that's not going to work. And sometimes you can get people who will come in and sit at your table to eat up all your food and won't do anything. Have you ever gone out with a group of people, or with a friend or a few friends, and they had expectations that you were supposed to do all the popping for the meal. Well, it doesn't leave you with a good feeling. On occasion you may say, hey, I got this. But every once in a great while, you would hope that they would pick up the ball and say, you know what, you paid the last time. The meal is on me. Let me take care of that. But that's out at a restaurant. But now we're talking about in your own personal space. If you just allow anyone and people with the wrong motives to come and sit at your table, then you should not be upset when things don't turn out in a manner that you want them to turn out. If you allow people to sit at your table who's full of drama, who's never happy, who are spiteful, who are envious and jealous of you, people who resent the fact that you are seemingly doing well for yourself, then maybe you'd want to think twice before you open the door and permit them to put their feet up under your table. If you invite an enemy in to sit at your table, don't be surprised if they take and pour a little something in your drink or sprinkle a little something on your food. Don't be surprised if they waste your food. Don't be alarmed if they sit there and complain during the whole meal. Choose who gets a seat at your table. It's your table. And can I tell you, sometimes you're better off sitting at the table alone, where you have peace and tranquility in your mind and heart, rather than be surrounded with lots of people who don't mean you any good. So what I'm saying is this: everyone don't mean you well, and sometimes you can know that in your heart. But naively you say, well, I'm just going to give them grace, right? I'm going to give them another chance. Well, listen, if 9 consecutive times they've hurt you, they've injured you, they did things against you that made you cry, made you regret allowing them that seat, what makes you think the 10th time is going to be a charm? Look over your shoulders and go ahead and get your scissors and cut your losses. There comes a time when you need to be true to yourself and say, listen, I'm not getting younger, I'm getting older. And especially when you work hard for what you have, when you've made good choices about your life and your lifestyle, then it's time for you to be true all the way through. Again, it doesn't matter who rings the doorbell. They're ringing your doorbell. You decide who you're going to answer the door. You decide if you're going to open that door and permit them in. It is your table. You decide who you welcome into your private space and say, I prepared this meal. Come on, sit down and sup with me. Make better choices. And believe me when I tell you, it's better to eat by yourself and have peace of mind and have joy knowing that, hey, all is well, than to have not just many people, but one additional person sitting across the table from you, looking at you with contempt. So listen, folks. A story was once told about a man who was a hippie. He saw a snake frozen on the ground and he felt so sorry for this snake. So he took the snake and put the snake in his bosom, put his clothing over this snake that was just about frozen. And the snake, once he thawed out, he bit this hippie. And the hippie said, "Why would you bite me? I took you into my bosom where it was warm. You could have died, and you gonna turn around and bite me?" And the snake said, "Well, you knew that I was a snake when you put me in your bosom. And so I'm just simply saying, watch who you allow to sit at your table. Don't let everyone sit at your table. It's your table. And if they just want to have a meal with you, that might be why restaurants are in business. And set the conditions before you go. My friend, this is going to be a Dutch meal. You pay for yours, and I'm going to pay for mine. That way, you can order whatever you want, right? Well, listen, I'm just simply saying, make a long story short, be mindful who you allow into your inner circle. Learn to evaluate people for who they are and who they show themselves to be. When a person shows you who they are, and when they tell you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't take their word for it. Don't take their word for who they say they are, because they may just be attempting to deceive you. You know, before Jesus left the face of the earth, he told his disciples, he said, listen, I got to go away. In other words, I'm going to die. He came here to die, right? Yeah, he did. He came here to die, to give his life as a ransom so that we, through his death, burial, and resurrection, might have life. But before he died, he told his disciples, I'm going away. They were so sad. They're like, no, we can't believe that. You know, we've only had you for a few years and you talk about leaving us. He said, yeah, it's imperative that I go away. He said, but I'm not going to leave you comfortless. I'm going to give you another comforter. I have comforted you up to this point, but while I'm away, the comforter, which is the Holy Spirit, he's going to come and he's going to give you discernment. He'll give you wisdom and he will direct your paths. And so, in other words, rely upon him. Don't you hear Solomon saying, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding? In all your ways, acknowledge him and he'll direct your path. Listen, the next time you decide to allow someone who you have questions about in your mind to sit at your table, why not whisper a prayer? Before you pull that chair out, before you even allow them into your dining space, why not consult the Spirit of God that is within you? He'll give you discernment, he'll give you wisdom, and he will direct your path. So the next time that flag pops up, when someone is trying to sit at your table, and you know, because the Holy Spirit has reminded you that person does not need to be at your table, all you but need to do is kindly decline their insistence. In other words, you're saying without words, you won't be sitting at this table, right? Well, God bless your heart. Excuse me. God bless you. It sounds, someone says tight, but I declare it's right. You determine who's going to sit at your table. And I believe me when I tell you, you're going to have more peace of mind. Well, that's it for today. Thank you again for joining me. I'm so appreciative to you for taking this time. Now, tomorrow morning, we'll be in our early morning worship at 7:30 on this channel. I need for you to hit the like buttons and hit the notification bell so that whenever we are on, you will get that pop-up notification on your device. Also, like us on Facebook and subscribe, if you will, to our channel. I'm trying to build our subscribers up, and we're already over 1K. So I want to encourage you to subscribe, share this with others, and we'll be ever so thankful and grateful. Additionally, on tomorrow, I have a speaking engagement. I will be at the Kendrick Memorial Missionary Baptist Church, located at 1107 West 79th Street. That's 1107 West 79th. I believe that 79th and Hermitage. That's in Chicago at 11 o'clock a.m. Now, my friends, listen. You're my friend. I certainly want to see you there. But do not neglect your church. Don't neglect your home responsibilities. You want to make sure you take care of home first, and then if there's anything left over and you can join me, please, friends, do so. I'd love to see your face in the place. The Reverend Stanley Miller is the very fine pastor there. He has given us an opportunity a month or a couple of months ago to come and share the gospel. So we're looking forward to being there with them in the morning. Alrighty, until next time, may the Lord bless and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift the light of his countenance upon you, and you back there. And may he grant you peace. God loves you, and I love you. Have a great rest of today. Have a better tomorrow and a great week. We're going to let this here finish playing out, and then it's a wrap. How am I doing here? Alrighty, nothing like having a little